My audio for this video is extremely bad due to my mic dying before recording, so I had to use the camera audio. I tried my best to noise cancel in Adobe Audition, but no matter what, it sounded like ass. I hope you can all forgive me for this mistake, and I hope you all enjoy the video regardless. I actively hate myself, because now I'm gonna have to talk about a fucking book for a while. Yep. It's been a pretty long time since I've talked about anything Onision related, seeing as though there were a lot of more interesting stuff happening around the world and on the internet. So I decided, you know what, I'm gonna give the Onion Man a little bit of a break. That break's over. Now let's continue on. But no more distractions. I am finally going to review his last book, his last demented fucking book. Hopefully his last book, because I can't take any more of this torture. I'm finally going to review his last book, which is simply titled, Reaper's Creek. The title has nothing to do with the actual story. I knew next to nothing going into this book. I knew next to nothing except that he eventually turns into God, which I thought, okay, it's a bit weird, but alright. But after reading about half a page, my brain cells already wanted to kamikaze themselves. Because holy fuck, Onision has a terrible track record with writing books. Some of them bad, and some of them way worse than the others. He has a terrible track record with writing books because of his abysmal plot, shallow characters, and many grammatical mistakes that he makes that essentially makes this entire book look like something a 14-year-old would write. Has any of those points changed now that with his last book? I mean, you're watching this video, obviously no. It somehow gets even worse. But without further ado, let's get into the disaster known as Reaper's Creek. The book starts off with Greg explaining to us why the other books were failures. Well, because they weren't works of fiction. So what does he do? He writes a book that is pure fiction because that's gonna fix it. Because if any of those books were real, they would make Greg look like a psychopathic stalker that has a lot of daddy issues. So thanks for clearing that up, Greg, old pal. Within the first intro page, Greg single-handedly, he made me want to put the book down and devour an entire can of fucking pepper spray. Not only does he ignore the other books that he wrote, which is, by the way, one of the worst things that you could do as a fucking writer. Imagine if fucking George R.R. Martin just excused all the other books that he wrote and focused on his last one. That is so fucking bad. Speaking of him disregarding the other books because of fiction, he promptly falls in love immediately, stalks a girl from a different ethnicity, and falls in love with them. Why is this important? Why is me mentioning this important? Well, because he mentions that this is going to be a completely different book, but then immediately does this fucking shit and expects us to believe that this book is going to be different. It's the exact carbon copy of the last two fucking books, and my brain cells just want to die. He also has quite a way with words while describing his room. More specifically, his bed that's hanging by chains over his water heater, washer, and dryer. What kind of fucking crack house does your dad live in? We are no less than 10 pages into this book, and Greg already introduces us to his daddy issues. It's literally the exact same flavor cycle. He hates religion, likes a girl that doesn't even know he exists, and has severe daddy issues. It's the exact same fucking thing. It's so predictable. But then again, this is Onision we're talking about. He is the textbook definition of shallow and predictable. Speaking of which, I ran into a single sentence into this fucking book that made me doubt if I was having a stroke or not. Everyone is smile. Everyone is doing R? Okay, look. Some devoted Onision stan is going to tell me in the comment section, oh, you hark too much on his book. Oh, you hark too much on the way he writes. Oh, you hark on his grammatical spellings. Boo-hoo, weep, weep. But you just can't defend this. This is terrible writing to the first degree. This is so fucking bad. It doesn't even fit into the context with what he was saying beforehand. He was talking about his dad's house and then strung this abomination of a sentence at the end of it. Like, what the fuck, man? Come on, dude. I have to actually read all this fucking book. I have to read it all. Speaking of abominations of a train wreck, we don't know Greg's character's name in this book. He flip-flops from Greg to Daniel in literally less than a sentence, less than a page, and I'm just kill me. Why the fuck does he do that? I don't fucking know. The rest of the chapter is utter dog shit garbage that I'm going to spare you from reading all this and skip it all, because it's not important. Because his character goes into the woods and swings on ropes like fucking Tarzan. That's it. Oh my god. It's so fucking bad the way he just describes the way his character swings from ropes. It's so bad. I'm gonna save you even more fucking time because chapter 2 isn't as good as chapter 1. And it's worse. Holy shit, is it worse. You're starting to see a pattern here. I'm starting to skip a lot of chapters. But anyways, chapter 2 is essentially him asking to go to his uncle's house. Then arriving at his uncle's house and then getting mad that his uncle, who he knows is an alcoholic, tries to give him alcohol. He refuses like the fucking alpha Chad that he is, and then gets all fucking mad. I mean, why? That's literally all you need to know from chapter 2. Skip it on to chapter 3! So chapter 3 is, I shit you not, about Greg imagining his school bus exploding and his sister and his cousin being terribly injured. Brother of the fucking year, ladies and gentlemen. Oh yeah, by the way, that cousin that I was talking about, the one that got fucking brutally injured in his fucking dream, yeah, she's not important. We never found out her name or anything else. Fuck. She has no real significance to the story whatsoever. He then sits on a swing and broods about being alone in the world. You know, all that emo shit. Because apparently, an 11-year-old kid, that's the first thought that comes to their mind. And then immediately meets his friend Davis. No, not Davis from Stones to Abigail. The one that got fucking clotheslined by a fucking truck. I think. I don't remember anything from the book. No. This is a completely different Davis. This is Davis... OC, do not steal Greg's slave, I guess. After meeting pre-truck accident Davis, we then head to class and watch a documentary on dinosaurs. But not just any documentary, a documentary on what if humans were mixed with dino DNA. Someone get Billiam on the phone, he's gonna love this. But then, upon showing Greg the dinosaur man hybrid, he immediately is like, oh my god, that's the alien I saw in his fucking dream. He then storms out of class because he got offended that they showed him the documentary? I don't know, man. I'm trying. Also, more grammatical mistakes. Just take them. I know this book would be bad, but Jesus fuck, man. I was setting myself up for torture and I got something way worse. He then says that he wants to talk with his mom because he trusts his mom. His mom's the only person in the world that really understands him, despite literally that morning at school, he was brooding about being alone with no one to love him. I'm just having a mental breakdown. This is like, I'm dead and I'm in purgatory and I'm reading this book. It's so fucking bad. Continuity is not Onision's strong suit when it comes to writing pure art like this fucking book. He then explains to his mom that what they showed him and the way he described the alien dinosaur man hybrid was kind of like Voldemort from Harry Potter. It's just uncanny. I think he might have stolen that from Harry Potter, actually. He stole a lot of things from a lot of movies in this book, and we are going to find that out soon. But that's at the end of chapter 3. Literally holds nothing of interest, except for the dinosaur thing, but even then, it's so shitly written. So don't even bother. Chapter 4 starts off with Davis 2.0 telling Greg how much he loves chicks. Like, loves chicks to a concerning amount. This is an 11-year-old boy, by the way. I just want you to remember that. It gets worse because when Greg's character explains to us that this girl, Mara, a friend of Joanna, his sister, who came over to hang out with her, has the biggest breasts he's ever seen. This is an 11-year-old boy. I am very sickened by this book. But Greg's character doesn't find this female attractive or up to his standard, so she literally does not appear anywhere else in this book. Literally there for misogyny, just so he can comment on her tits. Wow. Because being attractive is the most important thing and definitely should characterize women. 110 fucking %, according to Banana Man. Greg then meets the legendary school bully Philip that he talked about once in the book. This character is about as one-dimensional as Bimbo fucking bread, and pretty much gets ignored by Greg's character because he is inferior to his Alpha Chad Gamma Rays or whatever the fuck. Hawk, what's this? Greg spots a young and supple female in the wild. This young female is called Aubrey, and she is very short, has perfectly straight hair, and bangs like the Beatles. Want to know a really cool fact? She doesn't matter. This character never shows up again in the book. I love wasting time. I love it when my time gets wasted. It's my favorite activity next to wanting to die. This book is so bad. It gets worse after every chapter, and you have to take my word for it. I am 100% genuine when I say that. But that's the end of chapter 4. Nothing special. I'm just speechless, man. I mean, I wrote a speech, but whatever. Let's just keep going. Chapter 5 is utter dog shit because some kid sneaks into class to hide from a bully, I guess. And Greg's hero complex kicks in, and he uses One for All to kick all the bullies his ass. No, I was lying about that last part. He threatens them with a baseball. Not a baseball bat. A baseball. What the fuck are you going to do with a baseball? You're going to throw it at them once and then go pick it up? What the fuck? I do not believe for a second Greg knows how to throw a baseball perfectly. This man does not know how to throw a baseball or any other sport ball in his life. I can guarantee you that. After Philip fucks off and Greg heads home with his new slave, i.e. Aaron, the kid that was sneaking back into the back of the class from the bullies and was hiding from the bullies, that ends chapter 5. It just ends so abruptly and so bad. Chapter 5 was bad, like super fucking bad, but somehow gets worse because chapter 6 opens with them going to the forest to shoot stuff with a bow and arrow because they were bored. I don't know. Is this an American thing? Do you guys have like bow and arrows in your fucking house? Like I can understand like the little slingshot thingies, but a bow and arrow? What kind of rural part of America does he live in? Anyways, they go into the forest to shoot some dead fish because Greg, he's a pacifist. He doesn't shoot anything alive, only dead stuff because that makes it somehow even better. And then they find a dead body. No lead up, no build up, just, we found a dead body. While reading this book, I didn't know who the body was, so I gave Greg some sort of dignity point because I thought it would be, Philip, considering he had a dream about his face in the forest, and lo and behold, they were in the forest, so it would have made perfect sense. But no, as it turns out, it was some chick that we've never met. Why? I don't know, fuck logic according to Onision, I guess. After this whole shenanigan, they go back to school, and he asks Aubrey on a date because he got trauma from looking at the dead body, which makes perfect fucking sense. He's 11, not 20. What kind of trauma are you gonna get from looking at a dead body? You're probably gonna forget about the dead body literally the exact same day. You're gonna go back home, watch some fucking TV, and then forget about it. Also, he complains that nobody treats him like a Giga Chad just because he found a dead body. Like, alright, cool, dude, I guess. Like, no one gives a fuck about you. They only care about the dead body. He then asks Aubrey out on a date to the mall, and after laughing at his face, he spends the rest of recess playing basketball by himself. What a fucking loser. Fast forward a few days, we're back at school again, and he decides to man up and talk to Aubrey about the date, because the first time went perfectly right and perfectly fine. She did not laugh at your face. Third time's the charm, I guess. But oh, what's this? Philip approaches Greg. He did nothing to Greg? So Greg just beats his fucking ass up? I'm not joking. I have no idea why he fucking Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 kill-streaked his ass in the middle of the fucking schoolyard. I have no idea. They're taken to the principal's office only for Greg to ask why he was taken there too. Oh, teacher, why was I here? I did nothing bad. Gee, I don't know. Maybe because you rearranged the kid's face? Spoiler alert, by the way. That's completely not a spoiler because who the fuck gives a shit about the spoiler for this fucking dog shit water book? Philip dies. Oh, I did not see that coming. Apparently he fell into the same creek as the girl that they found and snapped his neck or whatever. I don't know. I don't know. I guess Greg just Death Note Philip. I don't know, man. I'm trying. He also then goes into very deep detail on how the aliens walked in his dream, which does not matter because he never references this again in the rest of the book, and later on says that the aliens float, so it doesn't fucking matter anyways. But he describes them as a child with Tourette's. I can't comprehend how he would write this and not expect me to burn it once I'm done reading this book. But I digress. He then meets an alien in one of his dreams, but it wasn't actually a dream. It was him astral projecting. And the alien was like hurting him, I think. And the alien dies after he says stop. Dude, this book just goes like 60 miles an hour, like 0 to 60 real quick, but it also goes nowhere. He flies back into his body, and that's the end of the chapter. Even with context, this book is terrible. The next chapter is called Shook, which is what I want to be done to my cerebral spine cortex after spending more than a week reading this abomination of a fucking book. Him and his friend Davis play kickball, and Greg gets hit in the face with the ball, proceeding to bleed and walk into the forest. Because I guess that makes sense. I'm not joking, that's exactly what happened. He passes out, wakes up in the nurse's office, goes home, and does research on the red glow that he saw in the lake. He goes into the forest, sees a dead deer, and that's it. That's the end of that chapter. You can skip 95% of this book, and you will still be confused by how idiotic it is. Remember when I said you could skip like 95%? Nah, I was wrong. You could skip 97. Chapter 9 is called Eyes Never Open, which is what I want to happen to Greg in real life, because he's a terrible person, and oh no, I wish the best for Greg. Yes, that's exactly what I wish. I wish for the best to Greg. Ha 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 ha. Please don't kill me, Susan. Ha 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 ha. I didn't mean it. Greg then spends literally his entire summer in his room playing Final Fantasy VII. No, this is not an ad for Final Fantasy XIV playing in the back. Please stop. He then says that all the characters in Final Fantasy VII are hip young adults, something that I decided to be. Yeah, a 30-plus something year old man is thinking about how polygons from back in the day is a look he desires, is a look he wants to achieve one day. Yeah, sure. His mom has a pregnant friend over who apparently had a miscarriage. And instead of thinking about the poor woman, Greg thinks about himself and how the miscarriage pregnant woman ruined his spring break. Well, I'm sorry, Greg, that this woman had control over her fucking miscarriage. I'm terribly sorry, dude. Greg almost had a moment of humanity in him while writing this part of the book. And I was so hopeful, but then he just wiped his ass with it and threw it in the toilet like it was a fucking wet wipe. He is the type of person that would shoot an African kid in the face and then complain that the kid ruined his summer. Literally. He then contemplates whether talking to a disabled person is beneath him, because that's just the kind of person Greg is. No one is going to think you're Hitler or something for asking a disabled person their name. After this, we get a chapter titled Your Dead Girlfriend. Usually, a good writer would title the next chapter as something suspenseful after hooking the viewer in a good narrative story. Unfortunately, Greg doesn't do that. He just titles chapters like he's a fucking 14-year-old kid who wants to get the assignment done quick. They make no sense, no context, and literally do play nothing within this fucking game. With this fucking book. Sorry, I've been playing Xenoblade Chronicles and I have that game on my mind. I would much rather play that game than read this book again. The alien pulls out one of his eyes and then puts it back in because I guess he has a fetish for that. I think the alien has a fetish for that. I'm not sure. Greg wakes up and then tells his mom, who was singing by herself, to shut up, and then found out that he was bleeding. But here's the thing. The way he describes the way he was bleeding is kind of like a cut, like a small cut. He then goes to the ER for a small cut that he has, and it's seemingly healed before the doctors could examine it. Wow! Almost as if it was a fucking small cut! After this, the family heads home and gets into a car crash. No, Greg was not horribly injured. I would have been in ecstasy if that happened. But unfortunately, no. The driver of the other car comes in and asks them if they were okay, and they were all like, oh yeah, we're okay. And then the driver's girlfriend, I presume that's her girlfriend, his girlfriend, fucking dies, gets oofed out of the story for no apparent reason. And Greg's character is the first one to notice it and goes, I think she's dead. And literally does not matter. This is just so terrible of a story. I hope you guys don't mind. I'm going to drink a little bit of Coca-Cola. I am not sponsored. I wish I was, because this book is taking away my humanity. The rest of the chapter is literally useless, so we are going to skip that. There is no plot progression, no important parts, so literally you can skip it. Like, he talks to his dad that he was abducted by aliens, and he just literally laughs it off. This is the level of literature you get from fucking Greg. The next chapter that we are so graciously presented with is titled Woke. I am not joking with you. Actually, it's titled Awake. I got that wrong. But either way, ooh, so emo and mysterious. I'm crawling in my skin. One of Greg's teachers has a heart attack during class, and he can somehow see their soul. And it has a tail. It doesn't make any sense, but I guess the teacher's soul was a furry. I guess the teacher was like a secret furry, I guess. That's literally the only significant thing about this chapter. You can skip it. It's dead ass. You can skip this whole chapter. The next chapter is called... God damn it. I want to make an Among Us joke, but I'm just way too tired for this. Greg is then confronted by the disabled kid, but unfortunately he writes this character like they're a creep and not a disabled person, because that's just how much of an asshole Greg is. But that's the chapter. That's literally it. You can skip it. It's so fucking bad, and it gets worse. The special needs kid, or the disabled kid that I talked about in the previous chapter, turns out to be an alien. Ooh, mysterious, except not really. Ooh. The next chapter is called Julia's Glow. What does that mean? I don't know, but whatever it is, it's not well written. And Greg then wraps himself up in fucking tinfoil to prevent the aliens from getting him, because that makes sense. Okay, Alex Jones. He wakes up, the disabled kid is outside of his house screaming, warns Greg about the imposters in his house, and he gets beamed up into the spaceship a la cow to the spaceship style. This whole scene reminds me of that one hentai where the guy gets like abducted by aliens, and like one of them turns out to be an extremely thick alien, and then he fucks her. I'm not gonna tell you what hentai that is. You are gonna have to find that out for yourself. I don't want you to know about my kinks. Anyways, he wakes up with a hole in his room. How does he deal with this? He doesn't. He literally just does not. Anyways, the police burst into his fucking room like fucking Rainbow Six Siege style. And so does his family, and they were all worried about him, and yada 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 yada. You know how the rest of the fucking chapter goes. Also, the way he wrote ma'am in this sentence is just fucking kills me. The alien kid then sneaks up to Greg and... the alien kid then sneaks up to Greg while he was taking a piss at school and says, "Nice cock," except not really, because that would have been so much more funnier, and tells him that he needs to give you back what they stole from him? Which doesn't make any sense. Who stole what? I don't know. Was it the aliens? Was it the thick hentai aliens? I don't know. The disabled kid then knocks Greg out in broad daylight, and that's the end of that chapter. He uses, like, being concussed and unconscious so many times as like a plot progression thing, but it just doesn't work. It's so bad. He wakes up to a flight attendant asking him why he didn't impregnate Julia. Who's Julia? I don't fucking know. Greg spends time with his biological dad and some girl, I guess? So it turns out that she is his babysitter. And if you think you know where this is going, you are 100% right. Because this is Greg. She's 15. He's 11. Yeah, that's how bad this book is. Jail time is just vacation for Greg. They play darts romantically, which I don't know how you're able to do that. I have never heard anyone play darts romantically, but okay. A bunch of actual useless shit happens at the church because Greg and Julia go to the same church. Also, by the way, the girl that was his babysitter was actually named Julia, but we didn't know who the fuck she was, and he didn't even introduce her. So don't worry about it. They go to the same church, and they do a lot of just this stupid ritual, haha, church shit, and I know this is bad. This book is bad because she tells Greg that she wants to take a shower with him. Not today. Not today. I'm just not today. I know this is supposed to be fiction, but given that the last two books were loosely based off of Greg's real life, I think it's safe to say that he might have actually fucked someone when he was 11. Upon reading this part of the book where eventually they have very detailed sex, I tapped out of the book. I was just done with it. And then I kept reading and it just gets so much worse. I just wanted to end it all. An 11-year-old is not going to know what sex is, let alone kissing. When I was 11, I was literally completing the Pokedex in Pokemon Black and White. Why does he write kids like these? Why does he write every character having sex? I just don't understand. Speaking of Black, the next chapter is called God of Black. I know Greg isn't racist, or at least to my knowledge, but given his track record, he probably is. But why? Why? This book is a work of genius because it simultaneously shocks me, surprises me, and astounds me with how bad it can actually get. I say this because in the previous chapter, he plot dumped him going into one of the alien ships and killing them all, and they time skip by how many God knows years? It amazes me how bad it gets. Fucking George R.R. Martin, eat your fucking heart out. He can levitate off of the ground now by command, which I guess. I don't know how he got these powers. I have no fucking clue. Also, Julia's there. She's 18 now. But it doesn't change anything, because Greg is still 14. Fucking disgusting. This entire chapter is garbage. There's no plot progression, no sense of storytelling, and definitely no good writing. I'm dumbfounded. How did he finish high school? The next chapter is called Goodbye, Washington. So all the events in the book apparently happen because of he has some magic stone in his brain. This book came out in December of 2018. Marvel's Avengers Infinity War came out April in the same year. Greg, where did you get that magic stone in your head? Idea, huh? Where did you get that idea that it can make you levitate? I wonder where. This book sucks. More misogyny. Like, need I remind you that he's 14 at this point? We also found out that his mom left his dad because, I don't know. Like, he states that it's because his dad is an abusive alcoholic, but he never foreshadows it and never builds up to it. Like, in the previous chapters, his dad was, like, cool, and now all of a sudden he's an abusive alcoholic? The rest of the chapter is actual landfill. Like, no joke. I'm actually tired and my eyes hurt, but I'm gonna keep going for you guys. The rest of the chapter is literally useless toxic air that I'd much rather be stuck in a room filled with CO2 than read this fucking book. He then flies to Ohio and Julia gets shot in the forehead. Why? I don't know. He also said that she's been shot in the forehead, but in the very next chapter, she's shot in the neck? Like, inconsistency? Who's that? The reason why Julia dies is because, get this, the aliens sent a human hitman wearing a red polka dot suit to kill her. The aliens. Why is he wearing a red polka dot suit? Snake, is that you? Anyways, he tortures the assassin and decides to enact a third Reich on all the aliens that are disguised as human beings. Not the evil ones, the ones that are disguised as human beings who are living on the earth and are just living in, like, perfect harmony, but he just kills them. He just murks them all. He's just like, bing, 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 bing. Literally. He even murders children. This book is shit. Julia comes back from the dead and then they have a galaxy brain sex. I'm not joking with you. That's literally what happened. Also, this is just comedy gold because of how bad it is. This single sentence made me want to listen to Nickelback on repeat. He also has the ability to edit human biology at will, and instead of making humans stronger and making them more resistant to diseases like cancer or get rid of cancer entirely, he gives them fingernails that are as strong as steel and gender equality. The next chapter is called Homecoming, which is what Greg and Julia do a lot of. All you need to know about this chapter is teeth vagina. Teeth vagina. That's all you're going to have to get. That's all you're going to get. No context needed. You don't need it. The next chapter is called Golden Man. Greg acquires all the Infinity Stones and can now alter the laws of physics. Yeah, there is no stakes to anything now. Every fucking problem that Greg has, he resolves them in the exact same page, or sometimes even the exact same sentence. Also, his grandma appears out of fucking nowhere. He has never mentioned his grandma in any previous sentence or any previous chapters. And she's just there. He literally goes Super Saiyan and grows blonde hair. Why? I don't know, man. The rest of the chapter might as well be used as for your barbecue or for your grill to make barbecue. It is not worth anything in the slightest. The next chapter of this Feces of a book is called God. Just straight up God. He fights God, but then turns out to not be God and instead be called Reaper. Very, very, very unique name there, Greg. And somehow beats him in a JoJo-esque style fight, but instead of a cool JoJo fight, it's a very lame and very confusing JoJo fight. This part of the book is so fucking bad. He even duplicates himself to fight God. Which is weird, because Greg proclaims that he is the ultimate Super Saiyan God Chad of the universe and has to make another version of himself so he can defeat God? Why? This is supposed to be romantic? What the fuck? I'm rereading my notes, and then I was like, wait, what the fuck is this? The next chapter is called The Hand of God, which is way too cool to be in this fucking book. Greg and his shadow clone defeat God in less than a page. I am Despite Greg defeating God effortlessly, he is being carried out by his double, which doesn't make any sense. I mean, he literally said he defeated God without any effort and is still somehow sustaining damage. This chapter is just pure shit. The next chapter is called The Mother of a Better World. Him and his Virgil sword clone confront God, and just talk. They don't fight him. They just talk. That's literally the end of the chapter. My notes for that chapter are done. The next chapter is called The Black Nightmares. Again, Greg? Really? Okay, he might be a little racist. He gets disowned by his family because, I don't know, him and his body double share a very gay hug because, I mean, come on, it's Greg. And that's the end of that chapter. This book is really bad. I'm not joking. Oh yeah, he also explains that the magic stone that he has in his fucking head is actually created by God's daughter, who is actually his mom, his real mom, which doesn't make any sense because he literally was talking about her chest in a previous chapter. I mean, obviously it makes sense. It's fucking Greg. Confused? Because good. I was too when I finished this book. The last chapter is called Mother. The world is literally a utopia. Everything is perfect, and Greg is the god of that world. That's the end. That's all you need to know about that fucking chapter. I'm done. Holy shit, dude. Oh my god, this fucking book is shit. Overall, I hate this book. You thought I was going to say something good about it? Fuck no. This book is ass garbage, dude. It's really fucking bad. Do not waste your time on it. It is incredibly terrible. But yeah, that's going to be it for me. Hopefully you guys enjoy, and thanks for enjoying my suffering and being here for like, I don't know how long I've been recording for. Give me a second. Thanks for being here for like 45 minutes and watching me suffer. But yeah, that's going to be it for me. Bye. Sorry, that was the Coke.